The future moves fast. The AvePoint Shift Happens podcast is your edge, where leaders unpack AI, data, modern work, and the mindset shifts that turn change into advantage. Hear what top innovators are trying next and how to make it work. Visit avpt.co/shift today.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. I want to thank you all for tuning in as you do each and every week. Shout out to those of you who are watching on Spotify and YouTube. Man, check this out. So the other day, I'm watching football. College football was on. It was a Saturday. I was parked where I usually am every Saturday and every Sunday on my couch, right? At the time of this recording, it's fall, it's football season. I'm on the couch. Like, I don't do outside. I don't go to sports bars unless, I'm with the fellas. But, I really enjoy, watching games and stuff at my house. And as I was watching this game, I was listening to the commentators talk about, the idea of the teams that were playing. I can't remember who was playing, but they talked about how the teams, had bad blood or whatever, didn't really like each other. And it got me to thinking, I'm like, there's not really a lot of sports rivalries like it used to be because of, time and convenience and proximity and technology. And so, the rivalries really aren't what they used to be, but there were some great rivalries, when I was coming up. And so I even had, here's the thing, you have, if you play sports or if you're a fan of sports, you're going to not like somebody. It's going to be a team or a player that either did well against you, or for whatever reason, maybe they spurned your, maybe they hurt your team or what have you. Like for me, as many of you know, I played college football at South Carolina State University. Now, we had rivals in our conference, the Mideastern Athletic Conference. We had rivals like Howard, Florida A&M. But our biggest rival every year, the game that no matter what, you always circled on the calendar, was against the team from the city of Greensboro. The school is North Carolina A&T, the Aggies. And so, like, a few years ago, the Aggies moved from our conference to another conference. They're no longer, while they are an HBCU, they're no longer in an HBCU conference. I think they're in the CAA, whatever that stands for. But long story short, like, no matter what, when I was in school and even after I finished playing football, like, I always look forward to playing against A&T. Like you didn't want to lose to anybody, but we damn sure couldn't lose to A&T. And, I remember at one point in time, particularly after I graduated, we went on like a 10-year run of beating A&T. And then, they had a little run against us, but we're not going to talk about that. But here's the thing. It was a rivalry. And as I've gotten older, I know, and I understand, particularly people from my era and older, there's a level of respect there. But I will say this much. When you talk about sports rivalries, it can be a little bit different because when you're talking about collegiate and professional, those are two different things. But in hearing that announcer talk about rivalries and my thoughts about, playing against North Carolina A&T, which, while they're not in our conference, we played them this year. We beat them. They actually scheduled us for homecoming, which really doesn't make a lot of sense because the last time I checked, the teams that you schedule for homecoming are the teams that you expect to beat. And I don't know what got into North Carolina A&T, but they thought they could beat us, and they didn't. But that's another story for another day. I got a lot of love for the Aggies. I got my nephew graduated from there last year. And everybody that I know that are Aggies are really cool people. So I have no beef with the school. But when I see that football team, I still get that feeling inside. Like I want to just put on my uniform. I got my helmet right here. I just want to put my uniform on and go out there and play. But at 52 years old, I ain't doing nothing. Nonetheless, it got me to thinking about rivalry. So I wanted to present on this particular episode some of the best. There's no clear cut answer or clear cut favorite, but I did rank them as far as what I think are some of the best sports rivalries. Before I get into my top 7 rivalries, let me give you a couple of honorable mentions. First up, and again, these are in no particular order. Army versus Navy in college football. You have the Naval Academy playing against the cadets from Army. Now, given the fact that these young men go on to be in the armed forces or whatever have you, they enlisted and went to these places to defend our country. So salute and shout out to them, because not a lot of people would do that. And then to play football on that level, it is always a big thing. When they normally play the Army Navy game is usually traditionally it's right around the first weekend of December. And what's always interesting is there's usually no other game on TV that particular weekend. It's done deliberately at the end of the season so that there's no competition. And as I would be recording this, my dad is calling me. Dad, I'll call you back. So yeah, Army, Navy. Speaking of Army guy, because my dad served in the Army. Shout out to my dad. But yeah, so those two teams would they play each year right around the first weekend of December. And so that's a really big battle. That's a really big rivalry, obviously because of the ties and them being military. Next up, I'll be honest. I don't know a lot about hockey. I enjoy watching hockey during the playoffs, but the Boston Bruins versus the Montreal Canadiens, that is one of the oldest rivalries in the National Hockey League, in the NHL. And these are two of the oldest, most storied franchises. It's one of the oldest rivalries in sports, in any sport. And it's a lot of bad blood between those two franchises. Next up, women's basketball, the Yukon Huskies versus the Tennessee Lady Vols. Women's basketball. Now, if you were around in the 90s and the 2000s, you saw these teams go head to head. Great players from Shamika Holdsclaw to Maya Moore. The coaches were legendary, Gino Auriemma and the late great Pat Summitt. I think those there are going to be some people that will put that in their top 10 as far as sports rivalries. Those years that they played each other. Now they did go several years, I think, in the 2000s without playing each other. Now they're back to playing each other again. But yeah, back in the day, let me tell you something. Pat Summitt and Gino Auriemma used to go at it. And those were some really, really good sports rivalries. Another one that's near and dear to my heart, honorable mention, the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm biased, right? Because you guys know I'm a New York Giants fan. My uncle played in the NFL for 13 years for the New York Giants. His name is Harry Carson. He is a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I know what you're thinking, that I'm biased. The answer is, of course I am, because I hate the Dallas Cowboys. I hate the way that they walk. I hate the way that they talk. I hate the way that they dress. I hate everything Dallas Cowboys. I have no qualms with the city of Dallas. Most of the Dallas Cowboys fans I get along with and I'm cool with. One of my best friends, my boy Mo. You guys have heard him on here before. He's the godfather to our oldest child, Dion. Mo is a diehard Cowboys fan. I've got several friends who are Cowboys fans. In fact, the woman who has been by my side for 30 years and has been my wife for the past 25 years at the time of this recording, is a Cowboys fan. She is such a fan to where when the Giants and the Cowboys play, we don't even watch the game in the same room. She's usually upstairs. I'm usually downstairs. That's just how we give it up. But it's a heated rivalry. I wish for nothing but the worst for the Cowboys. And I will constantly remind Cowboys fans that they haven't been relevant since Bill Clinton was in office and Tupac was still alive. Do with that what you will. Another big rivalry in college football, the Texas Longhorns versus the Oklahoma Sooners. They used to call it the Big Red River Shootout. It used to be called the Red River Shootout when the two teams would play. A lot of bad blood and a lot of the what goes into that particular game when they play each other is battle for recruiting. Texas and Oklahoma are neighbors, so they get it in, and they've had some great players over the years. So that's another one. And last but not least, as far as honorable mentions, I got to put them on the list. Auburn versus Alabama is called the Iron Bowl. Now, as many of you know, I live in the city of Atlanta. A lot of alums in this city from both schools, and Auburn is probably maybe a 2-hour drive from here. Tuscaloosa is maybe about 2.5 hours, so it's not far away. But I will say this much. While you could make a case that they could be in the top 10 or in the top 5, Bama has kind of kicked Auburn around the last couple of years. Now, obviously from my memory, one of the biggest and best games that they played was the Iron Bowl back in 2023. Chris Davis with the kick 6. Chris Davis from Auburn returned a kickoff. He returned a missed field goal, 100 yards to seal the Auburn victory at the buzzer, 34-28. So that's the honorable mentions. Let's get into what I deem the top 7 sports rivalries of all time. Coming in at number 7, the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the San Francisco Giants, Major League Baseball. They really are the Hatfields and the McCoys. They're the Bloods and the Crips. This rivalry goes back to when both of the franchises were in New York, with the Dodgers being from Brooklyn and the Giants were they were in Manhattan. And the Dodgers played at Ebbets Field and the Giants played at the Polo Grounds, the old Polo Grounds. And both teams were natural rivals and both teams moved out west. But these teams really, really, really hate each other. And if you go to a game between the Dodgers and the Giants, I would suggest if you're a Giants fan and you go to a Dodgers game, do not wear any team paraphernalia because you literally and figuratively could be taken out on a stretcher. I have seen it through the eyes of social media. I've seen fans get beat up at those games, and you ain't got to be talking trash. You can just literally just show up and get beat up. Same thing goes for when you go to San Francisco. If you're a Dodgers fan, you don't wear you don't wear your Dodgers gear in San Francisco Stadium. It won't be good for you. I've seen countless number of fights. I remember a couple of years ago with some guy, and I don't know if he was talking trash or whatever. The fight escalated. He got jumped, and dude ended up in the hospital like in a coma for like 2 months. Like it is, those fan bases hate each other. I mean, like, hate is a strong word, but I'm being honest. They really, really, truly hate each other. Coming in at number 6, Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier, boxing. Now, this was before my time, but I studied it. I am a huge fan. Muhammad Ali is like my favorite athlete of all time. He's the GOAT. He's definitely the greatest of all time. He's someone that I looked up to and studied. And his battles with George Frazier were beyond legendary. It started off in 1971 as the quote unquote fight of the century. And that was the first time that Ali was ever beaten when George Frazier beat him. 3 years later, they hooked up again, and Ali won by decision. And then in 1975 came the Thriller in Manila. This is, by most people's accounts who lived it and watched it, was the most brutal, physical boxing match ever. Ali would later say in an interview that he literally and figuratively felt like he was dying. Like he didn't think that he was going to live after that fight was over. He said his body was just destroyed. But he won. But Frazier and Ali were synonymous with each other. Ali and Frazier had, they had some legendary battles, in the boxing ring and in front of microphones. Ali, forever the showman, really said a lot of things about George Frazier and Joe Frazier. Shout out to George Frazier. And he said some really harmful things about Joe Frazier. And I'll be honest, as I got older and realized this and studied it, and Joe Frazier mentioned this before he passed away, like there were years that he did not, even want to mention Muhammad Ali's name. And a lot of the things that Ali said, one in particular, Ali, in press conferences, in front of microphones, in front of people, would call Joe Frazier a monkey. Like he was playing on a lot of different stereotypes and really saying some, degrading things about Joe Frazier in front of microphones that he really regretted and he apologized for later on in life. But I'm glad that they, mended their fences, obviously, before both men transitioned off this earth. But yeah, that was hate. And the fights are legendary. If you're a fan of boxing, go watch the fights. You can go watch them. I was too small to remember it, and by the time that I really started watching Muhammad Ali, he was definitely on the downside of his career, but still forever the showman, forever great in front of a microphone. He was the GOAT. So yeah, shout out to Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. Coming in at number 5, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. This is probably the oldest rivalry in the NFL. And here's what I'll say. Having spent time, I lived in, many of you know, maybe you don't know, I lived in Minneapolis for a year. Unless you're in the Midwest, you don't really understand how the dominance is that is the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers fans are everywhere in the Midwest, right? And I get it because they're a storied franchise. They're one of the first franchises in the NFL. Legends, from Vince Lombardi all the way to Brett Favre, you name it. But what's interesting is like the Packers are, and their fan base, I don't want to say they're entitled, but they've won a lot. So they walk around with a chip on their shoulder. And no, it was very evident to me when I lived in Minneapolis. Like they really treated the Minnesota fans like little brothers, not even little brothers, like little peons. Like they didn't matter. I saw them come to Minneapolis and take over the stadium there. And so like the Bears and the Packers go way back. Between the two franchises, they got like 22 NFL championships and Super Bowl titles. And they have a combined over 60 Hall of Famers between the two teams. So legends. Yeah, that's going to come in at number 5. Number 4, the University of Michigan and the Ohio State University college football. Plain and simple, these two teams, these two schools hate each other. And when I say hate each other, they hate each other with a passion when it comes to football. I mean, like it goes back to the 70s when you had the two legendary coaches like Woody Hayes and from Ohio State and Michigan's Bo Schembechler. That was like in the 60s and the 70s, and in the 80s it went to a whole nother level. Like I said, they really hate each other. Here's the thing, like you have people like, shout out to my girl Autumn the Aries, shout out to Autumn. If you get a chance, check out her podcast. Go to her YouTube channel, Autumn the Aries, and she has a series on her YouTube channel called As a Fan of College Football. It's a really, really dope show where she has these small bits of, recaps and everything on college football. She's a huge fan. She's a huge fan of The Ohio State University. To the point where Autumn does not even mention Michigan by name.
Working across teams is tough, but Asana helps you handle it. Asana AI can spot roadblocks and assign work to keep everything on track. That's how work gets handled. Visit us at asana.com.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Today's tip from the injury law firm Greenberg and Betterman. Too many pedestrians lose themselves in their phones and have accidents when they walk. So don't do it. Greenberg and Betterman is here to help you. Contact gblawyers.com. That's gblawyers.com and feel better.
She simply refers to Michigan as that school up north. I don't think I've ever heard Autumn mention Michigan's name. And what's interesting is, like, when you think about college football at the time of this recording, last year, Michigan beat, and they play each year. They play the last weekend of the season. It's always a big game. It seems like it always determines who's going to go to the bowl game or the Rose Bowl, or even play for a national championship. And last year was really, really crazy because Michigan beat Ohio State in Columbus, right? And so Ohio State was riding high. I think they came into that game undefeated. And so Michigan's riding high. They beat Ohio State, and, both teams are going to the college football playoffs. But Ohio State goes on to win the title. And so, as an Ohio State fan, you got to kind of ask yourself, like, even though you won a title, Michigan still can hang their hat on the fact that they beat you last year. I don't think most Ohio State Buckeyes fans even care. I mean, like, they hated the fact that they lost, but they'll take that national title all day because, Michigan had won a national title, 2 years ago? 2 or 3 years ago, right? And so, here it is. And both schools are rich in football history. Both schools are rich in talent. Both schools are just flat out rich when it comes down to money. But they don't like each other. My dad went to Ohio State as well, and he don't like Michigan either. I mean, he openly hates Michigan. He openly hopes and wishes that they lose every weekend. And I don't think he refers to Michigan either by the name of Michigan. But Autumn calls them the school up north. Shout out to Autumn. If you watch on YouTube, you see her picture on every episode that we do because Autumn has purchased merch. So shameless plug, make sure that you get some 12 Kyle podcast merch. We have t-shirts, hoodies, as well as coffee mugs. We got it for the low. Yeah, shout out to Autumn. Check out her page again on YouTube. It's called Autumn the Aries, and the series is called As a Fan of College Football. Number 3, Major League Baseball, the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. Listen, man, from Babe Ruth to Kurt Schilling's bloody sock to Derek Jeter to Big Papi to Alex Rodriguez to any and everybody in between. The two cities, Boston and New York, there's hate. I'm not even going to hide my biases here. You guys know me. You know who I rep. You know who I rep all day. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you see the Yankees fitted. I hate Boston. I hate Boston and Red Sox. I hate them. I always say, like, there's only 2 things that good that ever come out of Boston. Boston baked beans and New Edition. That's it. Those are the only 2 things that I like out of Boston. Everything else, Boston sucks. And so I don't even refer to them as the Boston Red Sox. I call them the Red Sox. And anytime we play them, it's a battle. It is. We just don't like them, man. We don't like anything about them, and they don't like us, and we don't care. You know why? Because we're the Yankees and they're not. And if you're a Boston Red Sox fan and you feel like I'm hating on your team, of course I am. I hate them. I don't hate you, but I hate them. But yeah, let me stop. Let me get off this because I feel my blood pressure getting, bubbling up just talking about those clowns. But yeah, they will rank number 3 on the sports rivalries of all time. My personal greatest sports rivalries of all time. Coming in at number 2, the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Boston Celtics. Listen, there aren't any more storied franchises. There's it doesn't get any bigger than Boston and LA. The Lakers, obviously, if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Spotify, you see the shirt that I'm wearing. There's 3 people on this shirt. In the middle, there's Michael Jordan. And on his left and the right, there is Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson both saved the NBA as we know it. Coming into the league and saving it, Magic Johnson, obviously starring for the LA Lakers, Larry Bird starring for the Boston Celtics. Those teams met up several times over the years as far as their franchise is concerned. And they've battled and they've had Hall of Famers so many Hall of Famers on this side, so many Hall of Famers on the Lakers side, so many Hall of Famers on the Boston Celtics side. I mean, it's straight up hate. And like, I've never seen a game where you turn on the TV and it's a Laker game and the Lakers are playing, let's say, the San Antonio Spurs, and all you hear is beat LA, beat Boston, beat Boston, beat Boston. And so like that tells you right there, like we're watching the Lakers and the Spurs, but we're worrying about Boston. We don't care about this game. We don't care about this, this semifinal game. We're worried about getting to the final so we can beat Boston. The Lakers want to play Boston every year and they want to beat them in the finals. Now, here's a cool thing, especially for someone like me coming up in the 80s and the 90s. You got to remember, Boston, the Lakers and the Celtics only play each other twice a year. And back in the day when I was coming up, there was no league pass or anything like that. So, but the networks made sure that we saw LA versus, Boston. That happened all the time. There was never a time that it didn't happen. In fact, I can tell you guys how much Boston hates LA, but let's call it a homie. Let's call Baylor. But y'all know Baylor, BTG for president. Open Run with BTG is his sports podcast. I'm going to call the homie Baylor and get his perspective on, hopefully he answers the phone, get his perspective on, these Boston Celtics. Let's see if he answers the phone. Let's call the homie. Hopefully he's around. He's not in the street.
One of the most wealthiest cats I know got my number, and that sounds crazy.
This how we answer the phone, man?
Man, when money calls, you answer on that first ring, and I apologize if I didn't.
BTG is my boy. Hey, I got to let you know, man, we got you live on the podcast. I have a question for you, and it is a simple question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What is the most hated team that you hate in the NBA?
The Boston Celtics. That whole city can go move to Florida, and then both Florida and Boston can go somewhere in the Bermuda Triangle.
Wow, that far, huh?
Yeah, I can't cuss on your podcast.
Come on, man. You can say what the fuck you want to say.
Fuck Boston. I hate Boston. I hate everything. I hate Boston. Well, the baked beans, I ain't gonna even lie. The candy kind of solid. New Edition, set them to a side.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else. Oh wait, no. What's the movie that Ben Affleck was in? The Town.
The Town.
We keeping that too.
Okay.
We keeping that too. Everything else, I hate Celtic Green. I hate the Patriots because they down the street from them.
Mm-hmm.
I hate everything about Boston. Larry Bird is cool. Everybody else can go.
Yeah, man. I was just telling the audience, just to give you a little background, with I'm ranking my best sports rivalries of all time. And I said, you know what? Who better than to hear from as far as the Celtics Lakers rivalry than, a diehard Laker fan, LA kid himself. And I said, let me call BTG and get him on the podcast.
Have you ever seen the movie The Good Sign?
No, I haven't.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that. Anyhow, I'm dropping Boston. I am dropping them off that cliff so fast.
Wow.
I do not care. I don't care nothing about Boston at all. I don't even care to visit. I don't even like the way the word is spelled.
Same.
I don't like the letters that they put together. I don't like that Massachusetts is spelled that way and is that long. Pause. I don't like anything about Boston. I hate Boston. I hate y'all. I hate Boston. I hate the Boston Red Sox. I hate the Boston Celtics. I hate Boston. I hate Boston.
Same. I just said the same thing about the Red Sox. Red Sox. Excuse me, not Red Sox. Red Sox.
Yeah.
So that rivalry, obviously, as I was saying right before I called you, and here's one thing I did not realize, Baylor. Boston has 18 titles and y'all have 17. For some reason, I thought y'all were tied.
We were tied, but Boston won recently.
Oh, that one gave them 18. Wow.
Yeah, we was tied.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so we gotta go tie it back up. So, fuck them though. I hate them.
So in a perfect world, you would get your 18th title against Boston.
And no, in the perfect world, we probably get the 19th. I don't care where. I don't care who we get the 18th off of. I want to get the 19th off of them.
No doubt.
Yeah, I want to get them. But if they are in our way for the 18th, then yeah, tying it up is cool. But beating them to go ahead, oh, that's so awesome. That's so awesome.
Man, I was just saying, like, I've never seen a crowd like the Lakers could be playing the Spurs. And you hear beat Boston chants. Like Boston ain't even in the building. And you hear beat Boston. Like, because basically the fans were saying, like, look, we don't care about this game that we're watching. We want Boston to get to the final so we can get a piece of them.
Before on my bucket list, I do want to go to a bar in Boston with my Lakers jersey. I just want to be around them just for a little bit.
Hey, well, you better have security with you. Because listen, as a Yankees fan, I've been in Yankee Stadium, so I checked that off my bucket list, but I will never, ever go to a bar. I don't even want to go to the city of Boston. And it may be a beautiful place. I ain't ever going.
Hey, man, look, me and you can go. You can wear your Yankees. I'll wear my Lakers with my Dodger hat.
Okay.
We'll be perfectly fine.
Right.
Perfectly fine. But no, historically, I don't like Boston for obvious reasons. Then after that, it might be the Patriots or Kansas City.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, yeah, man, I had to call you because, like I said, I'm sitting here talking about these rivalries on the episode, and I said, who better than to get on here than you?
Yeah, as a UCLA fan, I don't even hate USC that much.
Right.
Yeah, if I had to hold the hand of a USC fan and a Boston fan, hey, come on, Trojan, y'all with me. I'm pulling them up. On the same side.
No doubt. All right, man. Well, that's what's up, man. I appreciate you getting on the podcast, man. I'm gonna wrap this one up and put a bow on it.
All right, my man. 5,000.
5,000. Shout out to BTG. That's my boy Baylor. He's gonna be back on the podcast soon, and I'll be on his podcast soon as well. So y'all stay tuned. We got some stuff cooking. So Lakers versus Celtics is number 2. Number 1, if you haven't figured it out by now, is college hoops. Duke versus North Carolina. I don't think I think of all the rivalries that still continue to this day, I think this is the biggest one. And I think that because one of the proximity between the two places. University of North Carolina is located in Chapel Hill. Duke is located in Durham, North Carolina. The schools are only separated by like 7 miles. So, you know, and there's a level of competition. There's a level of disdain for each other. There's a level of eliticism between the two schools. It's just good old fashioned hate. Like they are, and then when it came to basketball, you would always see, these two programs just going at it, and they would really just have some of the best games that you would ever want to see. And I feel fortunate because like I never had a hand in, like I don't care one way or the other. It's not like I like Duke or I like Carolina. You know what? Quick sidebar. Carolina is what we call the University of North Carolina. However, there are people in the state of South Carolina, where I'm from, that call South Carolina Carolina. Nobody outside of the state of South Carolina calls South Carolina Carolina. Carolina is known as Carolina, and you're talking about the University of North Carolina. You could go to Seattle, Washington. You could go to Butte, Montana. And if you say Carolina, people are going to know that you're talking about the University of North Carolina. Nobody associates the word Carolina with the school, the University of South Carolina. Also, people in the state of South Carolina refer to the University of South Carolina as USC. Well, there's only one USC, and it's located in the City of Angels. It's not in Columbia. I'm sorry. And that's one thing that always tripped me out about, living and growing up in Florence, South Carolina. While I'm not a fan of the University of South Carolina nor their teams, I love Dawn Staley though, and I root for the Lady Gamecocks. But no, it's not. If you say Carolina, people know that you're talking about Carolina. You know what? Since we got Bail on the phone, let's see if we can get this one person on the phone real quick. Maybe, I don't know if they're going to answer the phone. Let's make another phone call here. Probably not going to answer.
You reached the.
Oh, I just knew it. I was calling none other than Dr. Jamel, who is a proud Duke alum. She didn't answer the phone. I just thought it might, because I know she could come on here and speak firsthand about her hate for Carolina. And Dr. Jamel attended Duke and graduated from Duke. I want to say she graduated with 96. She's 96. So she was there from like in the prime basketball years. And ironically and funny, she never made it to Cameron Indoor Stadium to watch a basketball game. She always watched them on TV. I'm like, how do you go to Duke and never go to a basketball game? And she was like, I used to go to the football games all the time. I'm like, why would you go to a football game? Like, nobody supports Duke football. But she's a big fan. She's obviously proud of her school. She's a proud alum, and she's so proud of Duke to the point where her godson, our oldest son, Dion, I think she gave him a Duke t-shirt or something like that when he was an infant. And like every time Dion would have a birthday, she'd send a gift and it'll always be some Duke stuff. And so our son has been a Duke fan all of his life. And like, he really loves Duke. He's a real big Duke basketball fan. And much to the chagrin of me, because I don't like Duke. I can't say I don't like it. I don't like Duke. The best thing I can say about Duke is that, that's where Dr. Jamel graduated from. But nonetheless, there you have it, folks. In my opinion, the greatest sports rivalries in baseball, the Dodgers versus the Giants, boxing, Ali versus Frazier, Let's see. NFL, the Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. College football, the Michigan Wolverines versus the Ohio State University Buckeyes. Baseball, the Boston Red Sox versus the New York Yankees. Basketball, the LA Lakers versus the Boston Celtics. And college basketball, the Duke University Blue Devils versus the North Carolina Tar Heels. Those are mine. Hit me up and give me yours. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We drop new episodes every Thursday and every Sunday. Also, we have a new baby. It is called the Rap Soul Podcast. It is the intersection where we have discussions about music when it comes to artists from hip hop, rap, soul, and R&B. It is the best music podcast that you've never heard. We deal with artists and issues from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. Again, it's the best podcast that you've never heard, so you should definitely check it out. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can listen and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. Also, if you would like to contribute to this podcast financially, hit us up on Cash App, $TWELVEKYLE. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. I'll catch you guys next time. 5,000. Chill.
Working across teams is tough, but Asana helps you handle it. That's because Asana is where humans and AI coordinate work together. AI can spot roadblocks and assign work in a snap, so everything and everyone stays on track. That's how work gets handled. That's Asana. Visit us at asana.com. That's ASANA.com.
If you work in university maintenance, Grainger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Grainger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, visit Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.